guys, welcome back. My name is Delia Mireya. For those of you that are new to this channel, thank you guys for stopping by. For this video, I know it's a bit different than the videos I've been sharing with you guys. It's not a cleaning video. This is a continued video. 2 years ago, I can't believe it's been 2 years ago that I shared my Glanzmann Thrombasthenia story. I don't really share that many personal videos with you guys on this channel, and I just want to let you guys know that you're not alone, that there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. I have Glanzmann Thrombasthenia. I know it's been a while since I shared my last video with you guys. Wanted to share a part 2 to my Glanzmann Thrombasthenia story. I wasn't really sure what I wanted to say in that video, or I just wasn't prepared, I guess, but I'm here today sharing the second part of my story. For this video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys the medications that I've been given from my hematologist. Well, let me start off with what it is. Glanzmann Thrombasthenia is a rare genetic bleeding disorder that affects the platelets. Very rare bleeding disorder. Only 1 in a million people have this bleeding disorder. And I remember my hematologist because I live in a small town, so I wasn't diagnosed till I was about 21 years old. And I remember my hematologist was like, "Hey, you're a unicorn," he told me. And I was like, "A unicorn?" He's like, "Yes, I heard that unicorns exist." During his medical school, he heard about this bleeding disorder, but he had never met anyone with the bleeding disorder until he met me. I'm the only one in my town that I know of that has this bleeding disorder. And in the town where I live in, it's a small town, so it was very hard for me to get diagnosed, and throughout the years I had so many bleeding episodes. But I think it was also hard for me to get diagnosed because we used to live in Mexico and then we came to live here to the United States. It's kind of confusing. Like, I don't have much memory, but I do remember going to many doctors. Like, bringing back memories, I think that I might have got a diagnosis, but my parents didn't speak English, so it was very hard for them to communicate. They knew that something was wrong with us, but I don't know if they really got a diagnosis. But then we went to live in Mexico for a couple years, and I used to get really bad nosebleeds when I was a child. When my teeth were falling, I would bleed all night. And the worst thing was the nosebleeds, because I would get like these clogs in my nose and then I couldn't breathe. And then it would bleed for days, and then I would get like I call them like tapones, like my nose would be so plugged with the blood, the dry blood. When I used to clean it up, it would be bleeding inside. It would still be bleeding like for days, but then I would get like the dry blood, but then inside, when that dry plug would come off, and then my nose would keep bleeding. It was really bad in my childhood because I used to get a lot of bruising very easily. There are many children that don't understand why you bruise easily. They think that your parents beat you. I'll leave you in the description box below and in the cards up here a video to the first part of my Glanzmann Thrombasthenia story. For this video, I want to be more in detail with the medication and whatever comes to mind. So yeah, that's a little bit of like a brief story of my past. When I started menstruating, my first period was a hemorrhage. It was really bad and I was really scared, and oof, I remember being hospitalized a lot because of my bleeding and the menorrhagias. Menorrhagia is like a bleeding that just doesn't stop. It's not like a hemorrhage, because a hemorrhage is like a non-stop bleeding. And then the menorrhagia is the bleeding that is a continuation for days, and it's not as much, but it's just non-stop as well. So I mean, many days. It doesn't stop for many days. I want to talk about the medications that I've had in the past for my bleeding disorder. I know that video doesn't have many views, but a lot of people that are watching that video is because they either have the bleeding disorder themselves or they have a family member that has the bleeding disorder. And a lot of people do reach out to me. They send me a private message on Instagram and they want to know what kind of medication I take. And that's why I decided to do this video. That way, if people are watching this video and they're probably too shy to message me, or they don't know how to contact me, then they could watch this video and then they'll know what medications I've taken in the past. I am no doctor at all. I feel like I have to give like a disclaimer. Please talk to your hematologist, to your doctors. Just let them know what medication has worked for me, and maybe it could work for you also. Obviously, they have to give you a written prescription for these medications. Don't take my word for it. I'm just saying that this is a very rare bleeding disorder, and a lot of people, even doctors, don't know how to deal with this bleeding disorder. When I say it's rare, it's very rare. 1 in a million of the people in this world have this bleeding disorder. My doctors here where I live, like, I had to see so many hematologists, and many doctors did not know what was wrong with me. Even gynecologists. Even when I was pregnant, I had to be referred to a hospital not close to home because there weren't specialized doctors in my bleeding disorder. Even when I met my hematologist that took care of my pregnancy, he only had another patient that had this bleeding disorder in the whole state of Arizona. So this is not very common, and I know that's why a lot of people want to know what medications worked for me, and I really want to share this with you guys because hopefully this helps you guys as well. Now, the medication for periods, the first medication that I got was birth control pills, and that helped for a while, and then kept getting switched to different birth control pills. And I remember my gynecologist, when my husband and I got married, he said, you know what, we can't really be giving you too many birth control pills because this could cause trouble getting pregnant in the future. Before I got married, the doctor said, you know, we can't give you birth control anymore because you're not sexually active and you're really not supposed to be taking birth control pills. So I was off the birth control pills for a while. And what I took is home remedies like herbal teas. And I used to have really bad cramps and bleeding. But throughout the years, I guess things got a little bit better. I did try Damiana, and I would buy it in Mexico, or I would buy it at the farmacias here. That's what they call it, like the pharmacies. But there, you can't really find it in a pharmacy. I think you can find it in GNC. I think they have the capsules there. Or you can look for the herbs so you can make the tea yourself at home. Or you can find it at the Mexican grocery stores. I know they have it there. I used to mix like a whole bunch of teas and herbs. Manzanilla. I guess everything helped because I used to drink a whole bunch of different teas and herbs. Epazote was another one. I really do hope that you guys can find it where you guys live. Now, these herbal teas, you might want to check with your doctor because I know this is something that a lot of people don't believe in, herbal teas. And it's something that either you have to try it, but just try a little bit. And if it doesn't work for you, then stop drinking it. Like, I really don't want to recommend you taking something and it not helping you guys, because I'm really here to help you guys in any way that I can. And I'm saying that these herbal teas worked for me, but I don't know if it's going to work for you. I really hope it does. But then again, I don't want to recommend it to you guys and you guys coming back to me and being mad at me for it not helping you in any way. So please take precaution when taking these herbal teas. So yeah, that's what I took for a couple years. It just depends on what your gynecologist wants to prescribe you guys for periods. There are estrogen, many types of birth control pills out there that you just have to try them and see if it works for you. If not, your gynecologist is probably gonna recommend something else for you guys. There is the Mirena, I think it's called. I'm not really sure. I never used it. The doctor said that that helps with periods, but I never really wanted to try it because I was too scared and I wasn't married or sexually active yet, so that was not an option for me. At least my gynecologist didn't want me to have that. I mean, I really had a really good gynecologist who took care of me like if I was his daughter. That was not an option for me at that moment. But then once I got married and the gynecologist was like, hey, you are a married woman now, you want to try Mirena? And I'm like, no thank you, that's really something I don't want to try. Like, I've had family members who've been pregnant and they didn't know it with the little tea or Mirena, they've had miscarriages, and I was really scared of that, so I never really wanted to try that. I know there is a shot, but shots can make you gain weight, and I got that shot 2 years ago in 2018. After I did the Glanzmann Thrombasthenia video, I got really sick, you guys, very sick, and I'll probably share like a third video sharing that story with you guys. But yeah, for this video I just want to share with you guys like the medication that I've taken in the past and what's worked for me, because that's the #1 question that I get asked when I get private messages. If you have this bleeding disorder and if your life is at risk, then you really have to try whatever your doctor says is best for you. You can't really be thinking of like, oh, I'm gaining some weight, because at that moment I'm like, do whatever. Like, if I need the shot, give me the shot. So they did give me the shot. So I really didn't care about the weight gain. I just wanted to save my life. So yeah, that was another thing that I took. And another thing that my hematologist has recommended me is the tranexamic acid. It's these pills that you take, and it just depends like on what your hematologist recommends. But when I have like a severe bleeding, then I have to take a couple of them a day, several of them a day actually. And that is the #1 medication that I got after I gave birth to my son, because I was at a very high risk of bleeding. I did need a blood transfusion like a month after having my son, because if you have this bleeding disorder, getting pregnant can be very difficult. I don't want to say that it's impossible, because for God nothing is impossible. I do want to say that God is everything to me. I've been so close to death, and I felt his presence, his love for me. I know he's always been by my side, and I love him so much. So please have faith and believe in God. He's our Savior. And if you're sick and you're going through any bleeding issue that you might be having, just have faith in God, and anything is possible for those who believe. For medical procedures, I've had my wisdom teeth removed, and I was old already. After my 30s, I had to have my wisdom teeth removed, and the dentist recommended my wisdom teeth be removed when I was in my 20s. I was so scared to have them removed because of all the bleeding, and I was just terrified. So my dentist said, you need to have possibly a platelet transfusion to have your wisdom teeth removed. That was why I started looking for a hematologist here in town. It was very hard for them to schedule me in to see the hematologist. So I just left it like, this is not necessary. Like, my wisdom teeth aren't really bothering me as much. So years went by, and in my 30s, that's when I'm like, you know what? These wisdom teeth are really bothering me. Like, I couldn't close my mouth right anymore. And when I would chew, I could only chew on one side because I felt like my wisdom teeth were in the way. So the first time that I had my wisdom teeth removed was in Mexico, and I told them, and the reason why I went to Mexico was because you have to pay your deductible here in the United States, and my deductible was so high. So I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna get my wisdom teeth removed in Mexico. And I had a really good doctor over there too. As I mentioned, like, I know that I'm supposed to be seeing a doctor here where I live, but the deductible was too high, so I would drive to Mexico, and I knew that I needed a doctor that was familiar with my bleeding disorder over in Mexico. He did his research, so he knew what medication he was going to give me, which I don't have the name for it. I probably look it up, but he put some type of medication before the procedure that was to control the bleeding. So I had the wisdom teeth removed. It was very tragic. Like, it was so bad. Like, I wasn't asleep and I could hear the whole noise, and it was bad. Once the numbing came off, like, I was having pain and it really hurt, like, so bad. I'm the type of person that really doesn't like to take medication, just because I really don't know exactly what I can take or what I can't take. I can't take like some cough syrup. So what I do when I have a cough, I just take honey, like natural honey. I can't drink green tea because the green tea makes me like bleed. I just start bleeding from nowhere. Like my nose starts bleeding, my gums start bleeding. So yeah, there are certain things that I really can't take, or certain foods that I cannot eat. So yeah, going back to the wisdom teeth, I had them removed, and then when I came home, I brushed my teeth, and I did record when I had my wisdom teeth, like the whole process. I did not mention that I was bleeding a lot because the video was just like the procedure of having my wisdom teeth removed. It wasn't like, hey guys, I have the bleeding disorder and I'm bleeding a lot. No, I didn't film that part. So throughout the whole night, I was bleeding and bleeding and bleeding a lot. So I called the doctor. And the doctor said, you know what you're going to do? You're going to hold some pressure. So I had to grab some cotton balls and I had to like bite down really hard as I could, so I could apply like a lot of pressure. That was my experience in Mexico. So they told me that they had stitched me up really good. That way I wouldn't bleed a lot, but I still bled. And then that's when I was like, you know what? Maybe I should have had the platelet transfusion just to be safe. The next day I was great. Like I wasn't bleeding anymore. Like a year later, I had my wisdom teeth removed here in the United States, and it went well. It went well. Like I went to my hematologist this time. My doctor that took care of my pregnancy, I told him, is it safe for me to have my wisdom teeth removed? Like, what do I need to do? And he's like, just take the pills that I've been giving you, the tranexamic acid, which are very similar to Amicar. I think I was talking about that, about my pregnancy. So when I delivered, I was a high-risk patient with my pregnancy. So I was in the hospital like 2.5 months before I delivered my son, because I was having bleeding in the placenta. Like when I was in the hospital and the bleeding was getting a bit worse, like the last weeks of my pregnancy, they were giving me Amicar. And then after my delivery, they switched it to tranexamic acid. I guess because the doctor said it was safer if I wanted to breastfeed. I really don't remember. But the breastfeeding helped a lot, you guys. That helps contract your uterus. I don't even know if I'm using the correct medical terms here, but I could feel my uterus contract when I was nursing. So that helps me a lot. I didn't get a period for like 7 months. And I know this is TMI, like too much information, but I know that a lot of women out there that have this bleeding disorder want to know. If you're watching this video, you want to know what I did, and I'll probably do like a separate video of explaining everything about that. I just want to give you guys like a brief talk about that. I did get platelets. So throughout the years, I've gotten so many blood transfusions, so many, but once I got like a really good hematologist that really took care of me, he said, you can't just be getting blood transfusions, like just can't be getting the blood transfusions all the time. If you do get platelets, they have to be HLA platelets. Like they have to be matched. It has to be my match. That way I don't get antibodies, something like that. So he's like, it's kind of risky. So my hematologist, there's this other hematologist that when I was having like a lot of bleeding, he's like, let's not go with the blood transfusion. Let's just do the iron infusion. So for a couple months, I was getting iron infusions. I do want to mention I did have a procedure done and it didn't go as expected. So I had to get the factor 7. That is a very expensive medication. It comes like in a little bottle like this. Like I remember like dozing back, and I could see that the nurse was like, you know what, we're gonna have to administer the factor 7 in your IV. So I remember her getting it like from a little bottle like this, and that I remember them telling me that medication itself was like $10,000. So obviously the insurance pays for it, but you have to pay your deductible, which is pretty high. Well, depending on your insurance. I think that's pretty much it. Like all the medications I've gotten in the past. Once again, really quickly, for periods, you can try the herbal teas if your doctor says it's okay, your gynecologist says it's okay. You can also take the Amicar or the tranexamic acid, which a hematologist has to prescribe it to you. For major surgeries, you can get platelet transfusion, blood transfusion, which is not recommended because of the antibodies. Also the factor VIII. Those are the medications that could be given to you if you have this bleeding disorder. A fun fact, you guys, something that is so funny, you guys, my nails were chipping, so I'm like, I'm gonna paint my nails today, and I was filming another video for my channel, and I painted my nails purple. Like this was a sign that I had to film this video today. Like, purple is the color for the Glanzmann Thrombasthenia Research Foundation. This was meant to be, you guys. I had to film this video for you guys today. I guess that's pretty much it, you guys. If you have any other questions, if you would like to learn anything else from this bleeding disorder, please contact me on my Instagram or comment below. I like to respond to people. I try at least to respond to people right away. A lot of people have been contacting me regarding the bleeding disorder, so I really hope you guys the best. If you guys know of anyone, please support them through this battle, because it's a battle that you have to just fight each day. You just never know what you're gonna get. It can get really sad, you know, just to be going through something like this, and hopefully you're there to support someone, and hopefully someday there's going to be more medication, a cure to this bleeding disorder. Years ago when I was diagnosed, my first hematologist that discovered my bleeding disorder said that there was a cure, and the cure was a bone marrow transplant, but it was very risky. You guys come to me because you feel like I know a lot about my bleeding disorder, but honestly there are things that I still don't know about. Even the best hematologists don't know everything about the bleeding disorder. Please let me know if there is something that you do know that could help this bleeding disorder, because it's no fun to have bruising all the time. So, for bruises, I use arnica. There's a arnica cream that you can put on the bruises, and it helps them heal faster. Or what I do, if I get a bruise, like right away, I try to press on it, because it's internal bleeding, so I like to press on it. That way the blood doesn't keep spreading as fast, and it doesn't bruise up as bad. The Bible has helped me understand so many things in life, things I didn't understand before. I'm so happy that I started reading it. I like to read a couple verses from the Bible, and that's really helped me so much in life, find understanding to life and to have my connection with God. So I like to read Matthew 7:7. Ask and it shall be given to you. Seek and ye shall find. Knock and it shall be opened unto you. For everyone that asks receives, and he that seeks findeth, and to him that knocks it shall be opened. Anything is possible to those who believe. I really wanted to give that message to you guys out there, because with this bleeding disorder, it can be a bit difficult to get pregnant and to conceive a child. God made that possible, and that's why I want to tell you guys, don't lose hope, don't lose faith. It can be possible if you really ask to God in prayer. He will answer your prayers. If you go with what the doctors say or statistics, there are very few women in the whole world that have this bleeding disorder and have conceived or have had children. Very few women out there. It's not impossible either. Just because a doctor says it's very difficult, it's not that I don't want you to believe the doctor, because it is something that is going to be very difficult, but it's not impossible, because what's impossible to men is not impossible to God. Luke 18:27. What is impossible for man is possible to God. Never forget that, please, please. And if you start reading the Bible, you will find hope. You will find the answers to all the questions you've had. Hey guys, so I forgot to say goodbye in the video that I recorded a couple days ago. I changed my hair color. I was editing the video and I'm like, I can't believe that I forgot to say goodbye. And I just wanted to come here to tell you guys, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Stay tuned, because there will possibly later on be a part 3 of my Glanzmann Thrombasthenia video. If you guys have any questions or if you guys like to reach out to me, please do so by leaving a comment below or sending me a private message on my Instagram. Take care, guys. May God bless you all, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.